All right. Welcome back to another episode of Sound on Sports. A little bit of a filler episode today. You guys will be seeing this before Christmas. So when you're watching this, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Hope you have some great time with the family. Hopefully you enjoy watching that terrible slate of football we have on Christmas. 3 useless games. But today's episode, a little bit of a filler, a gap between Hawks games. We already talked about that Thursday night game. We got a break till Sunday. The end of this episode, we'll give a little preview for that Hawks-Panthers games. But we thought me and Brody, we'd hop on, talk about all the craziness that's happened around the Sounders over the past week and a half or so, talk about the big Kraken trade that went down last night, and then a little bit about what the Mariners are going to do now. But Brody, say what's up and what's up with the Sounders.
What's going on, guys? I'm imagining a lot of you guys are like me and like J-Ross here. Sit on a Sunday. Maybe you got your fantasy football playoffs. Maybe some of you guys are 11-3, 12-2, and you think you got it all, and then all of a sudden it's over, and your team scores 100 points, and all of a sudden you're out, just like
Couldn't be us. Couldn't be us. That's not relatable.
That would never happen to me. I'm just that could happen to somebody, not me or you.
No,
but
no.
Anyways,
yeah.
Right.
Sorry.
We had enough Puka Nacua slander. Actually, I don't think there's such thing as enough Puka slander.
Yeah.
So I guess we could have kept going there, but yeah, obviously the Sounders, of course, the big notable move is the Seattle Sounders re-signed Paul Rothrock. Details of the contract, I don't believe they're out. Like the specifics, I don't think they're out currently. Obviously, huge news. The majority of the fan base is going to be super, super pumped. I'm pretty happy about it. I mean, it's like, I imagine probably what happened was he wanted to search his options in free agency. Of course, he had a big season. He was probably one of the most hyped players in all of MLS. I mean, he wanted to go and test what was out there. Of course, yeah, got to respect that. He probably didn't get exactly what he was looking for. And if he did, maybe if he got a little bit of a better offer than what the Sounders gave him, maybe he just rejected and decided to stay. I don't know. But regardless, he's back. And I feel pretty decent about it. I don't know. How do you feel? How do you feel about Pauly Primetime returning?
I want to number he's at because, I'm happy he came back. Fan base loves him. I just want to know what that number is, and I want to see the details when it comes out. Because if he is end up making the big dollar figure that supposedly he was asking for, I'm kind of worried that might handcuff the squad. But in terms of who he is, he's a good squad player, a good player to have on the team. And considering we wouldn't re-sign Ryan Kent, I mean, I'd rather have a functioning MLS winger than no functioning MLS winger. And right now we're relying on possibly ACLs, Paul Arriola, and then, injured De La Vega. We have a lot of question marks in that attack. And so Rothrock is a guy where, as fans, we know what we're going to get for him. We know what we can expect from him. And, at a minimum, he's going to give us something to talk about after the game. So that's cool as, media people. But I just want to see what that number comes out to, because I have a feeling that he didn't get as much as he was hoping for. Some of the clubs that we saw him linked to, Nashville, when it first came out that he was going free as a free agent, and then San Jose was heavily linked to him. And I really do wonder if those clubs maybe offered him a raise, but how much money is worth it to you in his case to move away from home, Nashville in that case across the country, or San Jose down the coastline? I mean, who would want to go play for San Jose? Because even when they're good, they're not good. And it's what you're going to get with the Sounders. You're going to be a playoff team. The fans are going to love you. You're going to get some sort of trophy. And obviously a local boy, Seattle United kid. So I'm happy with it. I have potential to be frustrated with it when the contract details get released.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, the reason also for me why I would like to know the details is because it would honestly really elevate my opinion of Paul Rothrock if he got, let's say, a 50 to 100K maybe plus raise from another club, and he's like, you know what, I don't actually stay back. I love being in Seattle. I love this team. I love that, the fans, and I like playing for trophies and stuff. And if he actually got a proper raise and decided to come back because he would rather stay here, that would actually really just my opinion of him would dramatically increase, to be honest with you. That would be super sick. Obviously we wouldn't know if that's the case. We probably won't get any details like that, but to be honest, I think J-Ross, probably what happened, I think he tried to get try to capitalize on the whole. Because I mean, dude, can you name me like 5 more players in the MLS that were more hyped than Paul Rothrock?
Oh, he is like
To me, you
he's one of
can't.
those. He's like one of those guys. He was kind of like when Nuhu first became Nuhu. He's obviously fallen off. Where it's like he was that guy on our team where other fan bases just love him. Like, you know what I mean? He's just a guy that fans love, especially in Seattle, which there definitely are areas of the media that dislike him a lot sometimes. But a lot of fans really, really do love him. And, he does bring a little bit of that swagger, that attitude to the field. He's kind of, can be a diva at times. And I think those are the type of things that fans really fall in love with. And even if his numbers weren't great last year, they weren't bad, like by all means. But I mean, you look at in 33 games, 2,100 minutes, he had 4 goals and 5 assists, which is like,
It's just mediocre.
okay. Yeah, it's just kind of right? I mean, non-penalty goals in the 37th percentile, assists in the 65th percentile. In terms of his passes, I mean, if you look at his underlying stats, his buildup before, the pass before the pass, he's pretty consistently provided that to the team. But, I think all in all, he's a guy I'm happy to see him come back. And so I think that who knows, maybe now he has some money. He feels like he has a little more, I don't know, reason or I guess drive to play good. Maybe he'll ball out this year and then, we won't be upset that we didn't bring back Ryan Kent for some unknown reason. But
yeah, I think honestly, like the only thing that kind of bugs me a little bit is like I really was kind of hoping we do have that one winger on our team who's mega talented with a lot of untapped potential. Obviously, not being able to develop because he's not getting as many minutes as he would like. He's playing, behind De La Vega when he's healthy. He's playing behind Paul Rothrock, especially now that Paul Rothrock's locked in. Paul Arriola as well. Like I was really hoping to see Georgie kind of make that next step. I mean, the dude's very, very talented. He's also very raw. And as much training as you can do, of course, you can get better in practice, of course. But those true steps that you take in your development happen by playing on the field. And I just don't see I don't see how he's going to get minutes. I really don't. I mean, I'm sure he'll get his 10 minutes, 15 minutes here and there, but it's not enough. It's not enough for a player like that. And I truly think Georgie has the talent to, if they can really put it all together, completely supersede what kind of player Paul Rothrock is. And that's the only thing that kind of bums me out is that that's the direction that we're going in. And, of course, Brian Schmetzer's here for the long. I mean, I'm pretty sure his contract expires soon, but like we're not going to really let Brian go. He'll leave on his own terms. And at this point going forward, it's like Brian's the guy. And Paul Rothrock, if you're wanting to play Brian's system, he's more of a fit, of course. So from that standpoint, it's nice to have him. But I am a bit bummed about Georgie. But as far as Paul Rothrock goes, I mean, we got a few other little moves here. Stephen Fry obviously re-signs as well, taking I would assume to be a cheaper deal to come as the backup. Hopefully the backup, Brian. Hopefully the backup to Andrew Thomas. That's another move that, like, when we were just looking at offseason players, like the players that are out of contract, that was something that I was like, okay, cool. Stephen Fry, that's a player that I'm never going to say no to, right? You're never going to say no to Stephen Fry being on your team. A legend like that, top 2 player, for sure. I'm out Rushmore player. It's just all a matter for me. Like he's got to know, right? He's got to know. It's like you're 40 years old. Thomas just had a breakout season. Like your time as a starter is kind of up a bit, and that's the only thing that kind of worries me about that move is if Brian does end up playing Fry over Andrew Thomas, but I don't see that happening. I feel like the reason why it took so long was because they were kind of just like, hey, Steph, maybe you can see other markets if you want to start, but this is the game plan. If you want to come back on a deal, we got it here for you. And I think he finally came to terms with that.
Yeah, and Fry, he's the captain for a reason, right? Like that guy, he's such a leader. He knows the ins and outs of everything around the team. Like he has arguably the biggest moment in club history, that save in the MLS Cup, where it's like, if a guy like that wants to walk back in the building, you're never going to lock the door, right? Like you're letting him come in the building. And so if he's willing, obviously I want to get some minutes, whether it be Leagues Cup, something, but I feel like Thomas has to be the starter. And Fry might instantly props to him. He might be the best backup in the league now if he's the backup. So that's pretty sick to say we have. So, and I mean, also on the flip side, if you're the Sounders, I mean, if we were to let Fry and we did let Castro walk, it's like it's good to have that veteran backup goalkeeper. That's a position where you want to have a guy who, the young guys can go talk to in the locker room at the training ground. And if he has to go if Thomas gets hurt, knock on wood, he's a guy where we will trust him to play. And so I do hope that he's transitioning into a backup, but I'm honestly that was a signing where when I saw he was coming back, it definitely put a little bit of a smile on my face. Another signing that for me put a smile on my face was Hassani Dotson. When I saw that we made that signing, that was a move that coming in cheap. If he's as cheap as it seems like he is, I love this signing for the Sounders. He's a guy that can play in the midfield. What's crazy about him is he can kind of play everywhere on the field. He's kind of like Areola-esque, I guess, where he can play really anywhere he wants in that midfield, but also he's played outside wingback on both sides before. So if we were to try to play that 3, he would easily be able to fill in on both flanks. And then in the midfield, he can provide depth in that double pivot or higher up the field, depending on the game, which is pretty cool to see. I mean, it sucks because I know one thing is injuries, right? Like he only played He played 416 minutes last year, scored a screamer, but played 416 minutes, which isn't great to see. But the posts that I'm seeing from Minnesota United fans, how bummed out they are to see this guy walk and join the Rave Green, makes me happy we have him.
Exactly. That's how you know that you really got one. When the fans are like, shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And the thing is, though, it's like, if you can get a guy like this cheap, we let Danny Leva walk. We lost JP, right? This is a guy that fits that perfect mold where he won't be a starter, but when we hit a random international break, when we hit whatever, Obed's gone because Obed's staying now, Roldan leaves, he's a guy where if you see him in the starting lineup, I'm not stressed about it. I trust him to play. He's an MLS caliber player. He's a legit MLS caliber player. And it fits the Sounders MO because he's from Seattle, basically, Federal Way. So, kind of just ticks all the boxes if you're a Sounders front office. And these are one of the moves where I just don't understand how you get upset over a signing like this. Because you can get upset about the Sounders not making a big signing, but you also need signings like this to supplement your roster, to fill out a roster.
Yeah.
And this quickly became an area of need. We've talked back and forth about the Sounders went from having so much depth in the midfield to being very depleted in the midfield within a couple weeks. And this is a signing that made me feel, I mean, when you look at our midfield now and you see we have Roldan and Obed as our 2, they're our workhorses. And then we have Hassani Dotson and then maybe a Snyder Brunel behind him. I'm confident in that 4 being sort of that's the combinations that we will go to week in and week out.
Yeah, no, there's 2 things I got to say about this move. The first thing is to kind of just piggyback off what you said. A lot of fans do get disappointed, but you got to understand, not everyone's going to be a DP. Not everyone on the roster is going to be a TAM. Not everyone on the roster is going to be a super highly paid starter, all-star caliber player. You need the other guys, right? You need the other guys. That's how you build a championship team. And I think Hassani Dotson's a perfect example of that. And the only thing that kind of concerns me about him is the injuries. Of course, he does have a bit of a injury history there. But when he's on the field, man, he's proven MLS production. He can actually be a plus player at times. I mean, Hassani Dotson's had at least one season, if not multiple seasons, of being very, very high-end quality. I don't think he's ever been necessarily an all-star level player, but just if he's kind of a guy that at his best when he comes in, you're not skipping a beat. I like the signing as long as he can stay healthy, but again, bit of an injury history, so it's a if. Of course, it's a strong if, but like I said, you're gonna have to get. Not everyone's gonna be. You're not gonna sign Clint Dempsey every single time. You're gonna sign Obafemi Martins. You can't have a team just full of stars. You need the other guys too. And I also want to say I am a fan of the Seattleites. Okay, as much as I've given my pushback on it a little bit. Deep down, I am a fan of bringing homegrown players back or players that were born here, fans of the club. But it gets at a certain cost, right? I mean, I don't think there's been a Seattle player that's been worth designated player money.
Yeah, they can't be our stars, right? That's how you fill out your roster. That's how you get the cheap deals. Someone takes a little less money to play for the Sounders, and then that little less money adds up, move over move, and then we can afford to go bring in a big name to lead the Seattleites to the promised land, right?
Exactly. I mean, think of your favorite Seattleite cult heroes like Lamar Nagel. He wasn't the guy. That was Clint Dempsey and Oba. He
Yeah.
was the supplemental piece to that. And that's awesome. I like that when you can build a team, like a strong team full of stars, and have your Seattleites, contribute to this club winning trophies. That's the kind of stuff that I like to see. It's not my main priority to just have a whole Seattle team like a lot of people, but like if you can get guys like Hassani Dotson and hopefully Paul Rothrock's on a cheaper deal, that's the kind of stuff I like when it comes to bringing Seattle players back. Not when it's like Jordan Morris being your designated player striker. Stuff like that's a little rich for my taste.
Dude, and so let's look at this. I'm gonna talk about this too. So yes, last year Dotson was injured, but year before that, 2024, 2,200 minutes played in MLS plus some other competitions. 2023, 2,600 minutes played MLS plus other competitions. 2022 still had better minutes. 2021, like until last season, he still had a lot of minutes played across multiple competitions, and he had 7 goal contributions last year. Where it's like, yes, last year he was hurt, but prior to that, this guy was like a lockdown player in a decent MLS team, and he was honestly. Many Minnesota players love this guy. He was one of their better players. Like he was one of the guys that there are Dotson jerseys walking around Allianz Field right now, right? And we got that for free, and our fans are bummed out about it, which doesn't really make sense to me.
That's weird. It's just like they probably just don't know him well enough. Seattle Sounder fans typically kind of just only watch this. That's kind of what I've gathered is that they really kind of just only watch the Sounders and like not even like the Premier League. They just only watch the Sounders.
I will say too for MLS, I feel like now it's so much harder for fans to get like to want to watch other teams because when it used to be, we'd have the games on NBC, we'd have the games on Fox Sports. It'd be like I'm a Sounders fan, but it's Saturday at 3 p.m. and I'm scrolling through and I accidentally go across a Red Bulls DC United game. I'm gonna watch it. Now it's like if you want to watch MLS, you have to put in the effort to go. Okay, I'm gonna go on Apple TV. I'm gonna go to Seasons Pass, which they got rid of that. Now you should put Apple TV. But it's like you don't stumble across MLS games like you used to. And I feel like for that reason, MLS fans like, Sounders already played Saturday night. Am I going to watch DC United versus Inter Miami, or am I going to watch top 10 college football? Probably college football, right?
Yeah.
And so we'll see.
Yeah. And then just one last point on that is like, I just find it funny because if we both watch both play.
Yeah.
But at their best, would you just on your team, if you're making a team from scratch at their best, would you rather have Paul Rothrock or Hassani Dotson at their best? For me, I would rather have Dotson. And it's not to say it's like, worlds apart, right? But like I think it's about even. I would probably slightly prefer Dotson, and he's probably going to make less than Rothrock, and people are extremely stoked about the Rothrock move, and they like don't really like the Dotson move at all. So I just want to, for those of you that don't really know much about Hassani Dotson, like it's a good signing. Like if he can stay healthy and just be a depth guy, like you're not gonna be mad at it. He's not gonna be a liability. He's gonna fit in well, and he can he has the upside to be a plus contributor in a great team. So
yeah, and along with that, Sounders signed Ryan Taylor, which another guy, UW alumni, UW ledge, MLS Cup champion Ryan Saylor. And I think that is all that we're going to talk about for Ryan Saylor because, we want you guys to be happy about it. So I feel like, UW legend, MLS Cup champion, center back.
That's perfect. Fans love him.
Good move.
Fans are buying jerseys already.
Oh, 100%.
That's all I gotta say.
100%. And I guess we'll do one more thing on the Sounders. If you had to pick one spot on the field right now, you're Craig Weibel. What's one position you're targeting real quick?
One position I'm targeting, to be honest with you, is I'm still gonna have to say a striker position. Like as tough as it is, Jordan Morris, like we gotta have. I don't even need to say that anymore because I'm actually starting to see people finally get it now. Like I'm looking at Sounders social media posts, and like it's just like, oh, damn! Like Jordan Morris when are we gonna get rid of Morris? Get rid of Morris. Why is Jordan a DP? Can we buy down Jordan Morris? it's starting to feel like fans are actually starting to get it now. He's not a designated player, and I know we have that much money invested, which makes it hard. Because I know on paper you'd be like, well, we need striker, but you're putting so much resources at that position. Same with Musovski. Musovski's not on a cheap deal. He's making like 500, 600K. That's like top quality backup, like squad player money, And then you got Osase, of course, who showed a lot of flashes, right? But I'm not thoroughly convinced by either of them. They all have their flaws, in my opinion. Jordan, health, aging. Musovski, just not good at soccer, really. Osase's got upside, but he's very inconsistent. I would like to see us attack that position. The problem is that the only real slot where I think you can add a player of significant talent would be using like a U22 spot. And I think you're going to kind of run into the same issue as well. Like if you do get a young striker, they'll probably not be that consistent, I'd imagine. But at the same time, you could hit like a Joveljic type signing, and who just kind of hits the ground running. You could do something like that. And I think if you have the guys in place, you have the scouts in place, you trust the organization, you trust your team, I would go out and try and make a move like that, to be honest with you. I mean, center mid, we've kind of got taken care of. Wingers are kind of taken care of. I guess you could look for an additional center back, but it sounds like we're bringing Kihi back. He obviously got
we
Yaimar,
have an
Reagan.
MLS Cup champion, UW legend. We don't need any more center backs. We're good. We just talked about this.
To be honest with you, did I know what position he played until you just said it? No, I didn't. But just add that name to the list. Right, outside backs are fine to me. Thomas is the guy. Like, to me, striker's the one position where it's like, yeah, you got guys, but a lot of question marks.
Yeah, we're in the same boat as last year. It's like we have the floor to be a good MLS team. We just got to put that top end, to move us from our floor more towards our ceiling. But I guess I lied. One more topic just came to my head. Is Danny Musovski the worst soccer player to ever score 14 plus goals in the MLS? Like, is that an insult or is that a compliment? Because bro scored 14 goals in the MLS. It is pretty freaking hard. But I
don't think it's an insult because not everyone's meant to be good at soccer. If anything, it's like a compliment. It's like, how are you this bad, but you scored this many goals? It's like a real testament to just like how clinical he was.
Gritty.
I guess
he's just got grit.
I guess so. I just like
maybe we're looking at it the wrong way. He is so good for his class that it's amazing. We have like a unicorn up top.
He's like I don't even know how to say it. He's like, I don't know, the Lewandowski of like a rec striker, like your rec striker, but like the Lewandowski version. Like it's just he's not good.
He is the Clint Dempsey of David Estradas. That is who Danny Musovski is.
Pretty much. That's actually a perfect way to describe him. He's like, dude, he's not great with his feet at all. He's not athletic. He's not smart. He's just.
But he scores.
I don't know. He puts the ball in the back of the net. That's all you can really ask for him. And to kind of add like a little side question here, how many goals would he need to score for you to be like, I don't care that he sucks, I will not replace this guy? How many would he have to score?
Dude, if he puts, but like that's dumb because you
20. You need 20.
I'm thinking 22. I'm thinking 20 because 20 is like I can't argue it. 14, it's like that's a number where he had an insane year last year, but I still watch him and get pissed off. If I look at the stat sheet,
13, 14.
If I see 20 goals scored, it's like, bro, I don't know whatever this guy is smoking before the game, get us all some of it because it clearly works.
It's not unfair to say that. Like Jordan scored 13 to 14 last year, and everyone wanted to get him replaced as striker, So like, yeah, I think it really would have to be 20 plus MLS only.
Yeah.
Like all comps would need to be like 25, 30, assuming he's starting like every game, but which probably won't happen. But yeah, it's just I don't. It doesn't make sense. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if he kind of just. This is a very real scenario where like Osase kind of beats him out in the preseason. He starts developing, and you don't really see him Musovski, and then you look back 10 years from now and you're like, who was the Sounders leading scorer in 2025? And then you're like, oh, fuck, that guy, Danny Musovski? Like
he's literally he is gonna turn into like he is so much better than you're like he's gonna be in that Chad Barrett type of like tier, I feel like someday where we look back and we're like, dude, this guy bagged goals for the Sounders. Like, trust, dude.
Okay. On the lowest of keys. He was low key, not good, but actually really good at the same time.
But Musovski never pulled his hamstring celebrating, so Chad Barrett still has that over.
Fair enough. Can't
Yeah.
argue with that. All right, and then obviously we covered the Sounders. We got a few topics here for the Seattle Kraken. Of course, the biggest news is that they traded Mason Marchment. They traded him, and they received a second and a fourth. And it's funny because they literally just acquired this guy for a fourth and a third in the offseason. Played like, 20, 30-something games.
29 games.
29 games, traded to the Columbus Blue Jackets. And it's basically like you just swapped a third for a second.
Yeah.
J-Rod, what are your thoughts on this absolutely monumental / kind of almost pointless trade that ended up being to get him? What are your thoughts? What do you make of it?
I like laughed. So I'm going to the Instagram comments last night, and the top like 30 comments was like, God damn it, I just bought my kid a Marchment jersey yesterday. Like, it was just over and over. I'm like, one, why are you buying your kid a Marchment jersey?
Dude, that's just all it is. It's like it's just an inconvenience. It feels like.
It was like this is one of those signings where like I didn't really like. I mean, he's not on the best contract where it's like for the money. And I mean, he's 14 points through 30 games. So I'm like, at this point, we're biting the bullet and trading him. I think this is us waving the white flag, saying we're sellers. And if we're gonna be sellers, then I like the idea that we turn a third into a second because the more prospects, the better. And the Kraken are like sneaky, just racking up draft picks. Like the draft capital that we'll have going into the next few years, the amount of first and second round picks we're like piling up. It's like approaching 10 first two round picks over the next two drafts.
Real quick, I want to ask. So, as someone who's not really a hockey guy, I must admit, not a great NHL ball knower here. Are draft picks like? Is it like the NFL where you can get like it's like common to get a good player anywhere 1 through 7 rounds, or is it like the NBA where it's like your top 10 guys are kind of like you'll hit on the odd player, but the top 10 are like really the good ones, and then the rest.
Well, the difference is it's just the same reason why it's in the NFL you can get a stud is there's 5 guys on the floor at basketball at all times, but they don't really rotate. The roster aren't as big. I mean, NHL there's 5 guys on the ice, but the rosters are way bigger. But it's super common to get the late round draft pick studs. You see a guy like Kirill Kaprizov or a guy like Martin St. Louis, like not those caliber. Those are like studs, like Hall of Famers. But you see the late round studs all the time in the NHL. And for a team where we don't really have studs, the fact that we have this many shots at getting a flash in the pan is kind of huge. Because in my opinion, where the Kraken are at, I like a move like this. A second round pick is a big asset, a big opportunity to get someone good. And the next couple this draft class is kind of, there's Gavin McKenna, and then it kind of drops off. It's kind of okay. The draft class after this one is stacked. And so I think the more future picks we can get in those early rounds, the better, because there's a big chance that the 2027 draft could be very, very franchise changing for the Kraken. And even, I mean, honestly, this year, let's just sell anyone that's good at hockey. Let's get the silver tips to the Kraken somehow. And let's tank for Gavin McKenna, because for those that don't know, Gavin McKenna, certified stud, played at Medicine Hat in the WHL, tore it up, now playing at Penn State, projected first overall pick. And this guy will be worth our attention. So I'd love to see the Kraken tank for that, because straight up the Kraken are poopy. Like, we actually suck. Like, we won last night against the Sharks, but if you watch the game, we scored. To put into perspectives for guys that maybe play Chell but don't watch hockey too much, Brody, I'll help you translate this.
Perfect.
2 of our goals last night was our defenseman basically facing our own goal, but at the other team's blue line, flicked right up on the stick, like flicked the right stick up to wrist shot it accidentally, and it floated in. Like, perfect. I think that you could wear no goalie pads, have a baseball mitt, and could have made the save. One of them, Eskarov, was maybe screened, but the second one was like, dude, what are you doing? Like, what? Shout out Ryan Lindgren. I mean, first goal for the Kraken is that way. But I mean, I think that this is just us waving the right flag and saying we're sellers, which is so interesting to me because the NHL is like historically bunched up this year where the Blackhawks are at the last place in the West and they're 5 points out of a playoff spot with a game in hand. So it's like for us,
like
we are also
close.
Yeah, we're 5 points out of a playoff spot, but we have 1 to 2 games in hand on most of these. Like we could very easily be 1 point. We're a one good week away from being a playoff team, but we suck. So I don't really know. It feels kind of not the same, but it feels kind of similar to the NFL where it's like everyone's fraud checking each other, where you don't really outside. The only difference with the NHL is like the top teams like the Avalanche, the Stars, those sort of teams, you know that they're wagons, like they're studs. But a lot of the other teams are just kind of, toying with their food. Like the Canucks, when they made that Quinn Hughes trade last week, were like, oh, they're a complete dumpster fire. The Canucks are like they're ahead of us, and they are 4 points out of a playoff spot. So the NHL is just so weird. So I don't really know. Hockey's weird right now.
So let me ask you this. So after seeing this trade from the Kraken, are you just in like full on like is this a big enough sell for you to be like, you know what, just pack it all in, like trade anyone who's like, I don't know, 29, 30, 31 that you could get good value for and just completely tank? Or is this just kind of like a reloading thing? Like, okay, yeah, maybe we could trade for another guy. We have our draft picks. What's the kind of vibe? What would you do if you're in this situation?
The problem is in the NHL, not problem, but in the NHL, to get good, you kind of have to suck. Like that's kind of just the way of the league with the salary cap. And like a lot of like the Avalanche, before they got good, they were terrible. They were the worst team in the league, far away. And you got to rack up these draft picks, get these guys to go and build the dynasty. And if I'm the Kraken, we don't have the high end talent. We don't really have any guys where it's like we need to be in win now mode. I'm okay with getting rid of anyone that is worth value. Keep Brandon Montour. He's young enough. He can, oversee a rebuild. Vince Dunn, let's keep him. He can oversee a rebuild. But guys like a Jared McCann, Jaden Schwartz, those type of guys if we can get draft capital for them, I'm for us making those trades. Because then, we go on a full rebuild. We bring in some names. By the time we can start playing competitive hockey, we'll get contracts like Grubauer off the books. We'll be in a spot where we can go invest some money. And then we can have a bunch of guys on ELCs where that's just how you have to go in the NHL. And you see teams in our own conference right now that are starting to make that swing. I mean, we're getting the blueprint right now from the Anaheim Ducks. They're leading our division. They've been a dumpster fire for 3 years, but they went out. They've gotten McTavish. They've gotten Cutter Gauthier. They've gotten Leo Carlson, Zellweger, all these guys that are so cheap and so young. And now they're slowly turning into a wagon all of a sudden. Lucas Dossel didn't even stay. The Sharks are the same way. We might have beaten them last night, but you look at their lineup, stud after stud after stud, that are all like 22 and younger. That's just kind of how you have to win in the NHL. It's how you have to get good. And so for the Kraken, I think the play call, if you have any value, when you're playing manager career mode, people just spam you with trades, just start clicking A. Don't even read it. Just spam A. Just spam A, And I think that's just what we got to do.
Yeah. And so you're packing it in. I don't know how many games are we in, like 35, 40 games in, you're packing it. It's done. Because we are 5 points. You said what? 5 points out of a playoff spot, 2 games in hand.
The problem is, so we're 33 games in. So, I mean, there's still a lot of 82 game season. There's a lot of hockey left to be played, right? I think that right now I wouldn't make those trades, but I'd be lining up those trades. I'd be calling around, feeling what the market's looking at. And if we hit a little after New Year's, later into January, and we're still in this same spot, we approach the trade deadline and we're in this spot. Luckily, we have time, right? We have to like March around the trade deadline time. We have a few months to sort of see where we're at. But when we start approaching that trade deadline rapidly, if we're in this same spot and this gap widens, let's start tanking. And the nice part is the NHL is so close this year where you don't really need to commit to the tank yet because the bottom is so close to the top. It's not like we have a team like we've seen in the past, like the Sharks the last couple of years where they've been 30 points behind second to last place. We just don't have that. So the Kraken can afford to play with their food a little bit and see if we can sneak our way into the third place in the Pacific and then punt this another year, but that won't work out in the long run. But for now, we will float a couple more weeks and then we will sell everything and sink to the bottom and dig our way up from there.
Perfect. Buy high, sell low.
Exactly.
That's how you win. Perfect.
Just basic marketing, you know what I mean?
Basic market analysis.
So I guess we can move over to the diamond, Brody, but this is a good fill. Last of the filler teams, then we'll talk about that Hawks preview. But Seattle Mariners, we're sort of getting into the offseason, Brody. Murakami, he went to the White Sox, so that kind of was one of the names that was linked around the Mariners. One of that third base who can't really play defense but can hit the ball, I guess. But the infield market is going down the drain for the Mariners, and so now I'm seeing rumors online that the Mariners might bring Gino back, which I don't know what that price point would be, but I guess I know that you obviously are a Mariners fan. I wouldn't say that maybe Mariners aren't your bread and butter, but would you be happy to see Gino back in a Mariners jersey next year?
I mean, I wouldn't be completely upset about it. I mean, obviously he had a good year last year. He did kind of struggle when he got traded over. The best points of the season were definitely with the Diamondbacks, not with us. But to be honest, man, the options are starting to get slim. I don't know what his contract projection would be. Something like 2 years, 40, 50 million, maybe something like that.
Which is, can't see the Mariners spending money like that. And apparently we have a budget, but
I mean, I would be more comfortable if it's a short-term deal, but at the same time, I don't know if he'll go for something like that. Honestly, but if his options get slim and it's like a short-term deal, it's more of kind of just like a whatever kind of move. Not the worst thing. It's not the worst thing in the world. I mean, a dude who hit almost 50 bombs, you could do a lot worse, right? It's not certainly ideal, but I wouldn't be horribly upset from that. And I mean, I guess we could also, even if he doesn't sign, it's not the worst thing ever. I mean, you got Williamson who came along last year. I mean, obviously he's not like some sort of future superstar or anything, but he's someone that didn't look awful, and he could progress and become that starting third baseman. And we do have the team. We do have the key guys kind of locked in. Josh Naylor resigns. Cal Raleigh is locked in. Julio is locked in. So, Gino as a short-term filler, not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But I think that's kind of all. That's kind of all that's been swirling around the Mariners lately. Hasn't been a ton of talk in terms of signing. It seems like Cole Young's gonna have a big role, which is exciting to see. But who knows? And then obviously Cole Emerson will be up at some point, which will be awesome to see. I went to quite a few Aqua Sox games last year, and dude is just a stud. So maybe he'll be the long-term answer over at third.
Can I also say real quick, this has nothing to do with the Mariners at all, but the Munetaka Murakami guy, at what point do you just be like, you know what, I just might stay in Japan, Chicago White Sox?
Yeah,
I think I'm good.
It's
I think I'm good. I would rather kind of just stay in Japan and be the guy there than go to the White Sox. Me personally, I don't know.
Yeah,
but
it might be cool to play in front of 27 people every day. So that could be, no pressure because no one will see if you do anything bad. So that could be kind of cool.
They'll care for a week,
Yeah.
and then it's the White Sox, and then they won't give a shit at all. So
that's true. But maybe we will move over to a team we do care about. Let's preview the next Hawks game. This is our Hawks talk. This is the talk around Seattle right now. Kraken are a dumpster fire, so no one cares. Seahawks. We're away at Carolina. Sunday at the Panthers. The Panthers coming off a 23-20 win over the Bucks, fighting for their NFC South lives. They're fighting. They're firmly in a playoff spot. Does this trap game kind of scare you?
You certainly have to look at this game and absolutely not take it lightly. I mean, look at the Rams, for example. The reason we even have a division lead is because the Panthers put 30 on them, right? So the Panthers are absolutely not a team to play with. And obviously they did get their win today. Thankfully, Fatty's not here, so I can say this. Baker Mayfield kind of getting fraud checked the last several weeks.
Definitely getting fraud checked.
Definitely getting fraud
100%.
checked. I mean, people had him in Drake May talks. And I'm like, that's kind of crazy, brother. I can't get there, but yeah, obviously, Panthers are playing for something. Of course, I think they also play the Bucks again. So even if they lose, it's not the end of the world. But they're definitely wanting to extend that division lead. Of course, Bryce Young coming into his own this season. He didn't start out well, but over the last like 6-8 games, he's been really coming into his own. Of course, they got that running back duo of Chuba Hubbard and Rico Dowdle. They do have a good offensive line. Their defense is leaky, and it is something that we could definitely exploit. It is a team though that we should handle. Like we should be able to comfortably handle them. I think honestly the LA Rams when they played them, I can't think of it as anything other than like, where the Rams were murking everybody. We're on top of the world, and then they kind of get, humbled a bit. Like everyone's got their trap game, right? But I don't think Mike McDonald will let us be like that. I know it's easy to after like a huge win against the Rams, of course, the highlight of your season. It's easy to roll into this game not prepared, but I think the Panthers have made enough noise. I think Mike McDonald's too good of a head coach to let that happen. The only thing I could really be worried about, I just think like what they do well is something that we can counter. They want to run the ball. They want to get Rico Dowdle going. They want to get Chuba Hubbard going. We have one of the best run-stopping defenses in the entire NFL. Of course, they got star rookie Tedero McMillan. He's going to be a problem, of course, but we got a great secondary. I think McMillan will be handled. I think it's a game that will comfortably win, J. Ross. That's where my head's at right now.
I think the Hawks are going to win. Right now we're favored. Line's plus 7.5, and that would be, Hawks are minus 7.5 point favorites.
Wow.
That kind of scares me. Like that's something that I might stay away from. I could see this game getting ugly, and I think the Hawks will win, but this really does give me the vibes of a game that like typical Hawks fashion is scary for 3.5 quarters, and it takes us to have a 2-minute drive to win it at the end of the game. I just think that we might get caught sleeping, and that's just kind of just the script that it feels like for the Hawks. But on the flip side, we've kind of been just electric on the road this year, weirdly enough, which we're very anti-old Hawks days, where it's when we go on the road, we're studs, and I like to think that happen again. But I like you said, I think for any other team, this would be a huge trap game being sandwiched between the Rams and the Niners. But for the Hawks, we can't really afford to have a trap game because every game is an NFC West championship game from here on out. Because if we drop anything, the Niners are right on our tail. It's us and the Niners right now all of a sudden, which magically until last week, no one was thinking San Francisco 49ers. And now, I guess to be fair, we are filming this before Monday Night Football. So maybe Grandpa Phil pulls out a miracle. That could happen.
He gave us problems, man. Their defense is soft. Their defense is much softer than ours, and Grandpa Phil didn't look the absolute worst. I also find it funny that like San Francisco 49ers, like they saw us beat the Rams, and they're like practically celebrating the division.
Yeah,
which is crazy. You got the Colts, you got the Bears. Bears are a top 6 team in the NFL currently, and then you got us. Like you guys won week 1. It was really ugly, and it took a lot of luck. And it's also Sam Darnold and Clint Kubiak's first game together in Seattle. Basically a brand new offense entirely. Like Cooper Kupp as well, Toy Horton, he's a rookie. So like a lot of new stuff going on, and you guys barely squeaked it out, barely. So I don't know why Niners fans are celebrating like they've won shit. They haven't. But of course, they're in the race. They are absolutely in the race. And the Seahawks really haven't had like a traditional trap game. Like we haven't fell to any trap games. I mean, we lost to the Rams, one of the best 3 teams in the NFL. Lost to the Bucks, practice squad defense. Literally everybody's missing. Baker was playing great. Now
Bucks were still good at that point too. Bucks, that's
what I was saying.
Team.
Baker was playing the best football of his career. He's since been fraud checked, but at that point, he was an MVP candidate. And then we lost to – who else did we lose to?
Well, I think one thing was that it really shows how good of a coach Mike McDonald is, because I feel like the Seahawks have really like avoided the fraud, those trap games where it's like that Colts game, for example, or that Cardinals game that we had on like that Thursday Night Football, where those were trap games, and they definitely were trap games, but we still came away with the win. And the good teams, the good coaches, they find a way to turn trap games into squeak by wins instead of losses on the schedule, right? And I think that's one thing the Seahawks have really found a way to do, which in years past, we have, we've just been a team to find a way to lose games ugly when we can't, have no reason to lose a game ugly, which is pretty cool to see.
Yeah, and then like I said, ultimately, I just think it comes down to, this is a phrase that people say in MMA and boxing a lot. Styles make fights, and I think the way that the Carolina Panthers want to play, I think it kind of just falls right into our lap. I see them struggling to run the football, and I think we'll get after Bryce Young, and I think we're kind of too physical for their offense in general. I don't see him scoring a ton of points, and like I said, maybe if it was like a few games ago, where we're kind of rolling and smacking everybody around, then I could see like, okay, maybe we could be susceptible. But the Panthers have put the NFL on notice. They're gaining a lot of big wins, and I just think we'll be prepared. Honestly, I think we'll handle them. Minus 7.5 though. I don't know if I'm probably staying away from that, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not touching that. I think I might. This is one of those games where don't gamble, kids. Gambling's bad. We'll call 1-800-GAMBLER if you have a problem. I'm probably just staying away from this entirely because over under 43.5, Hawks minus 410. There's no, that just scares me where I think this might, and I refuse to ever, don't gamble, kids. I refuse to ever gamble against a Seattle team. So I probably would that just scares me. That is what made me originally think the trap card thing. Like 7.5, that's a scary line.
Yeah, and as far as like, what would you want to see from the Seahawks on offense? Like, what would you want to see the Seahawks really try and do? What would you see them like want to try and exploit? What would be like sort of your game plan going in if you're Clint Kubiak?
What I would want to see is just us look comfortable from the first whistle, from the start of the game, because this has been how many weeks in a row now where it's kind of just been us treading water for the first quarter and a half of every game, where I really just wanted the Seahawks to go out and honestly maybe just simplify the playbook a little bit the first quarter and just get some comfortable throws for Sam, get his feet set, get comfortable, and then branch out from there. Because we have just looked lost at the start of our last like 6 games. And in a playoff game, that can't happen because any of the teams that are going to make this playoffs in the NFC, if we take the first quarter, first half off, that could be the end of our season. What are some things what do you want to see from the boys in this game?
Yeah, for me, I'm to be honest with you, I'd really like to see the run game like really start to build momentum. I mean, it was obviously a huge game for Kenneth Walker. Last game, I believe his first 100-yard game of the season, and his first real explosive like 50+ yard touchdown run. Honestly, since he was like a rookie, it feels like, to be honest with you. And I want to see us kind of build on that. That's kind of where they are weak. The Panthers can give up chunk plays in the run game. So I like to really see us kind of get Kenneth Walker going, keep him hot, keep him just in form heading into a big matchup against the 49ers. I would like, honestly, to see – I really would like to see us pepper JSN with the football. I honestly, like, all this talk about, oh, Puka Nacua is the best receiver in the NFL. He's great. Okay, he's great, but he's not 11. All right, he ain't 11. He ain't Jackson Smith and Jigba. And, like, I will say, you know what? This is kind of off topic, but I do want to talk about this. You can't. It does such a disservice to compare like what kind of a season a player's having just by looking at receptions, yards, touchdowns. Which, if you even
100%.
wanted to do that, Jackson Smith and Jigba, more yards, more touchdowns, less catches, and they'll say, "Oh, Puka Nacua's missed a game." You know how many fourth quarters JSN's fucking sat out of, and not only that, you know how many like third quarters he's also like not sat out of, but we've just ran the ball because we've been up so big. There's no need, no urgency to throw the football. Like, you can't use that. It doesn't work. Okay. And JSN, not only is he more valuable to us than Puka is to the Rams, JSN has the highest percent, I think, of any team's passing yards for one player. I think he's first and like easily first in that regard. For the most part of the season, he really didn't have anybody else consistent around him. Like, he's generating all these explosive plays kind of just on his own. Like, and the team's what, bottom 3, bottom 5 in pass attempts too, and he's putting up these fucking numbers. It's insane. It's insane. To me, it's not a conversation who's having a better season. To me, it's JSN all the way. Kind of, you know, a little side point here. It's not on topic, but I just wanted to point that out because I've been seeing a lot of, oh, Puka Nacua is the offensive player of the year. Absolutely not, in my opinion. Absolutely not. But yeah, like I said, just in general, I would like to see the run game get going. Kenneth Walker, keep him going. I would like to see Rashid Shaheed involved more, just actually in the offensive game plan. Of course, he's going to make plays in special teams, and you want to see him there. But it is frustrating seeing him get 0 actual catches when we know what he's capable of. If like anybody watched him for the Saints, which granted it's the fucking Saints. Who's watching
hopefully
the Saints?
No one did.
Oh yeah, if you guys watching for the Saints, first of all, what are you doing? Get a life. Second of all, if you did, he's a great receiver. Like he's a very good receiver in his own right. I like to see him get involved more. Hopefully, Torrey Horton comes back and we can see him get involved, get back in the swing of things. So that's kind of what I'm looking for from the Seahawks offense. As far as the defense goes, I really want us to get after Bryce Young. Like, I just don't think he can handle the kind of pressures that we'll be giving him. And I think if we do that, he's not going to be able to move the ball. They don't really have anyone who can separate. Teterow is a big body, but we got big bodies. Woolen's his size. Like Witherspoon may not be his size, but very physical. Like, I think as long as we can get to Bryce, I think it'll be a long day for him. And honestly, like the more I'm convincing myself of it, hammer -7.5. Fucking hammer it. No,
you heard it. You heard it here. You heard it here.
Don't
this
gamble,
is getting
but
clipped.
if you are,
this is getting clipped.
Oh yeah, dude, this could be a problem. But also we could also lose, and then like look, then I could say if we lose, see, I said we could also lose. So I'm kind of.
So now if we lose, it's your fault. It's getting clipped as well. So congrats. You're screwed no matter what. This game, how good or bad it turns out, is your fault. All right. Well, boys, thanks for watching. I hope that this is your little filler. This little filler episode to get you through that brief work week before the holidays. I hope everyone has great holidays. Merry Christmas. Great time with your family. Thanks for tuning in. Please leave a like and subscribe. Fellas, this is up not only on our YouTube channel, but our Spotify is live. You look up Sound on Sports on Spotify. The last episode is up, and this episode will be up as well. Brody, any last words?
Yeah, I'm super excited to keep doing this. I'm excited to build on the momentum. We absolutely love doing this for you guys, and we'll have more stuff coming. We'll have more like shorts, more fun stuff. It's kind of just we're kind of getting started here, so it's kind of just been more podcasty type stuff. But we're gonna bring you a lot of different stuff coming soon, so stay tuned for that. Like J. Ross said, throw a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel. That really helps us out to push this content to more people. So we really appreciate that, guys. And I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode, half episode, which we have been rolling for quite a bit. It's almost starting to feel like a full episode.
This is officially a full episode. This is supposed to be episode, 2, 3.5. This is officially episode 3. But boys, like Brody said, we got some fun games. We got some Jeopardy. We got some Name That Dude. Lots of TikTok shorts. All of that is in the making. So make sure to follow us on all of our socials you see sliding across your screen. Don't worry. Next episode, Fatty will be back with all the Christmas hectics. Wasn't able to make it. So just, 2 boys yapping about ball for an hour to get you guys through your work week. But for now, like, subscribe. Thanks for listening, fellas. We will see you guys next week.